Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning to everyone. My name is Mahlin Dayu, representing College of Graduate Studies, University Tenaga Nasional. Welcome to the first series, what we call as the program Beyond Borders Asian Research Talk Series 2025. This is actually one of our initiative for virtual mobility program for postgraduate students, and also it is part of our initiative for students experience, enhancing students experience in COGS, College of Graduate Studies. So welcome aboard everyone. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for spending inshallah for the next 2 hours with none others of our distinguished fellow Prof. Abdul Karim Alias. Thank you, Prof, for your time as well. So before we proceed, I would like to call upon Ustaz Rusli Abdul Rani to recite the prayers, the dua, inshallah. Please welcome Ustaz Rusli.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning. Start with dua inshallah. Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Fatihah. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وحده لا شريك له لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم اصرح لنا صدورنا ويسر لنا أمورنا واحلل عقدة من ألسنتنا يفقه أقوالنا. اللهم زدنا علما نافعا وفهما واسعا وعملا مقبولا. اللهم علمنا ما جهلنا وذكرنا ما نسينا وارزقنا يا الله فهم النبيين وحفظ المرسلين وإلحام الملائكة المقربين. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Ustaz Rusli. Amin, amin, ya rabbal alamin. So before we begin our session with Prof. Abdul Karim, it is my pleasure to invite Dr. Muhammad Rizwan Abdul Kadir, the Head of Department for Business and Management, College of Graduate Studies, for his welcoming remarks, representing our beloved Dean, Prof. Agiliswari, she's actually went abroad this morning. So please welcome Dr. Rizwan.
Okay, thank you Puan Malindayu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. Distinguished guest speaker, Prof. Dr. Abdul Karim Alias, respected colleges, fellow researchers, organizing committee members, and dear participants. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome all of you to the official launch of the Beyond Borders Asian Research Talk Series 2025, a flagship initiative under the Virtual Mobility Program organized by College of Graduate Studies, University Tenaga Nasional. Before I proceed, I would like to convey warm greetings and best wishes from Professor Agilashwari, Dean of COGS, who is unable to join us this morning due to a prior commitment. I also bring greetings from our Deputy Deans, who currently away other engagement. Beyond Borders program was conceived as part of our commitment to advancing global research exposure and academic mobility, particularly among postgraduate students across ASEAN. This virtual mobility initiative offers students a platform to learn beyond their institution, engage with regional thought leaders, and grow a mindset for impactful cross-border research. Today, we kick off part one of a four-part talk series, and we are deeply honored to be joined by Prof. Dr. Abdul Karim, a well-respected scholar and passionate advocate for innovative thinking in research and higher education. So, his topic today, the inquisitive mindset for researchers, set the stage beautifully for what we hope will be reflective and empowering series. Over the coming weeks, participants will have opportunity to explore further topics on AI in research and also on publication. Those who completed all four sessions will receive a virtual mobility e-certificate from Uniten. On behalf of organizing committee, I would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to our speakers, our collaboration partners from University Brunei Darussalam, UBD, and University Radian Fatah Palembang, and of course, the dedicated committee behind this event. With that, I'm pleased to declare the Beyond Borders Asian Research Talk Series 2025 officially open. Okay, thank you, and I wish you a fruitful and engaging session ahead. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so back to Puan Ayu. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Rizwan, for your time. Let me introduce our speaker for today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Dr. Abdul Karim Alias. He actually has served for over 25 years. 28 years. Or is it more than 30 years, Prof? At University Science Malaysia as a professor of food technology, and held various leadership roles, including Deputy Dean and also the Director of Center of Development of Academic Excellence in USM. He is currently the Principal Fellow at Uniten, Alhamdulillah, and also an adjunct professor at University Malaya and University Brunei Darussalam. Prof. Karim is widely known for his pioneering work in educational technology, online learning, and also micro-credentials. He has delivered hundreds of training programs, keynote speech workshops across Malaysia and also Asian countries, especially on AI for educators, digital transformation, and lifelong learning. He also an active global content creator with a growing YouTube channel, blogs, online courses, and has authored children's book in Amazon. Very interesting, Prof. Among his many accolades are the National Academy Award, Malaysia's Rising Star Award, and recognition by the Cambridge Analytics as one of the world's most influential scientific minds. MashaAllah. So please join me in welcoming the visionary scholar and also an advocate of transformative learning, Professor Abdul Karim Alias. Prof, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Puan Malinayu, for the kind introduction. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera. Good morning to everyone. First of all, thank you to the organizer, College of COGS, College of Graduate Studies of University Tenaga Nasional or Uniten. And I'm very delighted, excited to be here in this session to share with you two parts of this presentation. Today, this morning, will be the first part, and the next one will be, I think, next week on the same time on Saturday. And I hope everyone here who are present today can spread the words, share the words to, especially among the postgraduate students, which are our main target group for this presentation. But the title or the topic that we are going to discuss this morning is actually very relevant to everyone, to all researchers, especially the novice researchers or those young researchers who are embarking on the new on their research or about to embark on their research, perhaps on their master's or PhD studies, even undergraduate students. If you have undergraduate students you are supervising now, maybe for the final year project, maybe you want to share the link on this session this morning, because I think it's good for them to listen what I'm going to share about the topic this morning. So let me share the presentation. So I prepared a PowerPoint slides, and I will share the link for all the participants to access or to download all the slides in this presentation. So don't worry, everything that I'm going to share, everything that you see on the screen will be shared with you at the end. And feel free to share the slides also with everyone. Okay, so this is a title given to me as part of this program, Beyond Borders ASEAN Research Talk Series 2025. It's a very commendable effort by COJS to organize this program. In fact, if you ask me, for when we are about to embark on research, so you can be postgraduate students embarking on your new journey, doing masters or PhD, it's worth to spend some time to think about your research. I always advise my, previously my students, when they were when in our first meeting, when they registered for their masters or PhD, I always advise them, don't rush. Don't rush. Don't get pressured when you see, other students are moving ahead very fast, because for they might not be, they might not know exactly what they are doing. So they're just rushing. So to me, the first part of your research is always spending enough time to think about the research, think deeply about the research. And this is what this presentation is about, the inquisitive mindset for researchers. We want to develop or to nurture and develop the mindset of asking questions. Every researcher must have a very strong skill and also always thinking day and night, asking questions about what they are doing, what they have done, and whether they can do it differently. So that's the essence of my sharing this morning. So the title is this is actually the original title. I first presented this one actually to a group of postgraduate students in my previous university, University of Science Malaysia or USM. I presented this sometime in 2022, a few months before I retired. So you can see maybe in some of the slide, you can see I put down there my name and also the year 2022. I didn't bother to change because it's good for me to remind me. The first time I presented and shared this topic was in 2022. So it's about 3 years already. So the inquisitive mind, what is it? What does it mean by inquisitive mind, and why it is such an important thing for researchers to cultivate, to nurture this inquisitive mind? And this is what I'm going to share with you, and hopefully will give you some insight into this. So I choose this picture. So you can see this picture, a guy standing and kind of, thinking deeply. So, you always, when you think, you always, have, you kind of put your hands on your face, on your chin, because that's basically we are thinking and thinking deeply. So these are some of the, hopefully, the outcomes that I hope I can deliver at the end of this presentation. The first one, you should be able to, at the end of this presentation, you should be able to recognize the value of cultivating an inquisitive mindset in the context of research by reflecting on the role of curiosity, creativity, and intellectual humility. What does it mean by intellectual humility? I will elaborate later. And why? Because we want to drive breakthrough ideas. A lot of research that we have done in Malaysia, in the context of Malaysia especially, the government always say that they have invested a lot of money, a lot of funding into research, and yet the impact of the research is not very obvious. When they say the impact, it's not only in terms of publication in Q1, Q2, and whatnot, but the real impact to the contribution to the knowledge in terms of how it impact the nation, the productivity of the nation, the industry, the new technologies, patterns, and so on. How that would contribute to the nation building. That's what, when we talk about impact, how those research that we have done contribute to the real thing in terms of productivity, in terms of building our nation. Not only in terms of the output, we have to differentiate between output, outcome, and impact. The publication can be considered as an output, but what all these hundreds and thousands of publications do in terms of advancing the frontier of knowledge, the knowledge frontier, and then contribute to the bottom line, which is what? The real productivity, the economy, the well-being of the society. That's the real impact. And that's what the government wants to see from all of our research. So that's the reason why before we start off our research, we need to spend a lot of time thinking about the end in mind, which is the impact of our research. And therefore, we start the process of inquiry, asking a lot of questions before you even finalize your problem statement. And even if you think you have got your problem statement, you have to again ask a lot of questions whether that's the right problem that you're going to spend 3 or 4 years to solve or to work on. And maybe you will, after you're asking a lot of questions, maybe you will end up with another problem statement. Okay? But you can only do this and achieve this if you spend enough time without rushing. And there should be some framework, a structured way or framework that will guide you to ask the right questions. Not just simply asking questions, but you must have a structured or systematic way of approaching this inquiry technique. This is what I'm going to share, and I'm very excited actually. There are a lot of good stuff that I'm going to share with you, and I hope, please, encourage your friend to join, and I hope you will be actively participate in some of the activities that question that I'm going to ask you. So please respond. Yeah, please be responsive so that we can make this session this morning very fruitful, very active, very dynamic. Now, the second outcome that I hope we will achieve after you have listened and we have, we have gone through the whole session this morning, I hope you should be able to apply effective questioning strategies, such as what if, why, how might we, and so on. These are very critical questions that we can ask again and again and again to reframe research problem, to generate innovative directions for your inquiry. Because you're going to spend 3-4 years to work on the problem. If you don't identify the right problem in the beginning, then you will waste your time. The whole thesis is a waste. And then adopt structured critical thinking. I mentioned earlier, don't simply ask questions, but there must be some systematic way or framework that we can follow. So adopt structured critical thinking approaches to navigate complexity in research, because research is always complex by nature, including recognizing flawed assumptions, evaluating multiple perspectives, and refining problem statement. Okay, so these are the 3 specific outcomes then that I have designed this presentation so that we can achieve this, the first part. Now, let's start with the brain teaser, and this is where I need all of you to participate, okay? And Puan Ayu, can you share the link to the whiteboard so that everyone will be able to respond? Boleh Puan Ayu?
Boleh. Now I'm
Boleh.
sharing it in the chat.
Okay, so you will find the link to share for this brain teaser. So now let's look at what is a brain teaser. Very simple. Very simple. Well, it appears simple. There are 28 vacuum cleaners to sell. So you have to imagine you are a salesman now, or the manager to the group of salesmen. And there are 7 salesmen. The question is this. How many vacuum each salesman should sell? Okay, I repeat the problem. 28 vacuum cleaners to sell, and there are 7 salesmen. So as a manager, you're going to tell every salesman, each salesman will sell how many? So logically, we will start thinking. This is a simple question, right? 28 divided by 7. Is it? Okay, so now I would like to...
No.
I would like to ask you this, what would be the answer?
Sell as many as possible.
Okay.
Cannot restrict, because why? There are certain people who can sell more. Some sell less.
Dr. Lee. Okay.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, but if the manager say, okay, on average, each one of minimum that each one of the salesmen should sell, what would it be? Okay.
We still have to target for maximum.
Yeah, the target for maximum, yes. But if the manager say minimum, so we want the minimum number. Then of course you can exceed the minimum, of course. It depends on how good salesman you are, right?
Always aim for the sky.
All right. So if you say for on average, you can also type. You can also type in the link given by Puan Ayu in the whiteboard. What would
Prof,
be? Yeah.
Actually, I am trying to find where is the link.
The link in the chat. In the chat box.
Where is the chat box? I cannot find.
There's
maybe some of the participants who is directly click at the meeting link, they cannot access the chat.
Yeah, I think I can.
So there are some of the participants. I am actually sharing the link through WhatsApp. For those who actually contact me directly, I will share the link directly from the WhatsApp that we had previously.
That's a disadvantage.
Yeah, because I didn't.
That's a
Yes. And
disadvantage of
another thing,
us.
Prof.
Yeah.
Another thing, I'm wondering how we can get your slide
Oh, the slide.
because there's no way. I've been searching, but I cannot find.
No. The slide. I will share the link. At the end. I will share the
Okay.
link at the end. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Anyway, if you don't, if you are not able, for those who are not able to access the link to the, let me check the link to this whiteboard. Yeah, I can see. Oh, they scribble. They scribble on the whiteboard. So for those who have access to the whiteboard, um, hmm. Okay, maybe to make it simple, anyone can also just unmute your microphone and just shout the answer. Dr. Lee just now said, okay, as many as possible. But let's say if we talk about average, 28 vacuum cleaners and there are seven salesmen. So logically, usually we divide 28 by 7, and what would be the answer? It's quite obvious, right?
Four. Four
Four.
vacuum.
That's quite obvious, right? If we just think very simple thinking, so
Logical.
yeah, logical. So 28 by 7, divide by 7, then we will get 4. But in this case, of course, this kind of tricky thing, because we want to talk about inquisitive mind here. The answer is 13. Who can figure out why did 28 divided by 7 equal to 13? Can anyone here get to this answer 13, which is not the common answer that we would expect, right? 28 divided by 7 should be the normal way how we do this is actually 4. And 4 multiplied by 7, we will get back 28. But in this case, 13. Who can figure out? Anyone like to, maybe I don't want to use a chat, maybe because of problem. Some people cannot access the chat and I have to switch. But if you want to respond in the chat, feel free. But if you want to speak directly, feel free to do so. You can unmute the microphone. I just want to ask before I proceed, what's the lesson that we learned from this video just now? Anyone like to say something in the chat or directly? Let's make it very interactive. Let's get your brain working rather than just listen to me throughout.
Yeah, hi.
Yes,
Hi, Prof.
hi.
I'm Sheila here. Hi.
Who
Okay, I
is
feel
next?
from the question that what I'm Sheila here,
Sheila,
or
from where?
Shashikala here,
From where,
from
Sheila?
Unita University.
Unita. Okay, thank you for joining. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Sheila.
betul.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Sheila.
I'm in the final phase of doing my scopus. Doing my
Okay.
research. Okay. Okay, Prof. What I feel
Yeah.
is that from here, what we learn is that don't rush into the answer. We must do the research properly. That's why we have methodology and so on to do the analysis using the system and so on, smart PLS or SPSS. So we need to be very problem solving person. So I felt this is my answer. I'm not sure it's correct or not.
So basically, you want to spend some time on looking at your
Research.
research methodology, perhaps, right?
Yeah, yeah. Then I
Yeah.
will conclude the answer after that.
But of course, before that,
Yes.
before even you reach the research methodology, the research question itself, right?
Yeah, research
Yeah,
questions. Yeah, we
that
do
is
have research
where,
questions.
to me, that's the most critical part. Because
Yes, exactly. Bro.
if we don't formulate the research questions correctly, then the rest of it
Mm.
is immaterial.
Gone, collapse.
Gone.
Yeah, true. Research questions. Yes, correct, correct, correct.
Yeah. Thank you, Sheila.
Okay,
Dr.
thanks,
Lee,
Prof.
Dr.
Thanks,
Lee,
Prof.
you want to say something, Dr. Lee? Go ahead, Dr.
Yeah,
Lee.
yeah. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah.
Actually, when we have a problem and to find a solution, we can look at it from many angles.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Many
like
angles. That's the
yeah,
keyword. Yeah.
yeah. You can approach from many angles. That's why, like just now, you gave let us watch the video.
There are many ways of solving
Many
problems.
ways of solving.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
as a researcher, we cannot say that whatever the researcher is doing is wrong. Yeah.
Or
There
vice
will be,
versa.
yeah.
Or
Yes.
vice versa.
There will be many supporting theories and all that we have to look into.
Yeah.
That's what I
Wonderful.
feel.
So when
Yeah.
you say multiple angles, different angles, how do we look at from different angles?
That's why we need that's why when we do research, we need the support from literature, previous literature,
Mhm.
you know.
Okay.
Just like certain theories also, when you look at from one angle, it may support, but from the other angle, it does not support.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good input. Thank you very much, Dr. Lee. I hope Dr. Lee, Sheila, and others can continue to provide feedback. Yeah, that will be very good for us to think deeply into this. Yeah. Thank you so much. So now I asked Dr. Lee just now. Yes, I agree totally that when we look at especially at the very beginning, and then continuously until we complete the research, we don't stop asking, don't stop looking at from multiple perspective, multiple angle or multiple perspective. But in order to do that, I think one of the things that I think we should uh, do is this one. Yeah, the point of this brain teaser. One of the things that I think we always should practice, hopefully become habit, become our habit, is to think differently. And this actually tagline of Apple tagline, yeah? Apple product tag. I'm an Apple user. I started using Apple products from 1988, the first Macintosh computer until now. And I love the tagline, think different. In fact, next week, I'm going to show you how we can use AI to help us thinking. So we can think together with AI. And one of the approaches is actually thinking differently. So think different. So when we want to look at our problem from multiple angle, as Dr. Lee mentioned just now, or from multiple perspective, the technique of thinking differently. And now with AI and so on, we can do this even easily. But when we try to think differently, because there's a quote from Albert Einstein, according to whether Albert Einstein really said it or not, we don't know. But very famous quotes. The quote is something like this: insanity, kegilaan, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. That's a famous quote you can find on Google. Insanity is doing the same thing again and again and again and again and expect different results. So that's where the think different. I think the first lesson this morning is how do we look at our problem differently? And later on, I'm going to talk about reframing problem. How do we? So when you decide your problem statement, that problem statement probably in one frame. We can draw a frame, so become a frame. But can we now turn it around, just like 360-degree, 3D kind of perspective, and maybe we can look it from different angle now. Just like when we do CT scan, the CT scan when we have the doctors have to troubleshoot or diagnose our problem. So when we take CT scan, they can slice the image, different angle, different perspective, so that they can look at our body. Where is the problem? So just that's the metaphor. So thinking differently. So that's one. Okay, and that's another brain teaser. let's look at this together. Yeah, look at this picture. So I'll give you like 10 seconds to look at this picture. And oops. My question to you is, what is the first question that come to your mind? Questions. What's the first questions that come to your mind when you look at the picture? Anyone like to share? When you see the question, when you see the picture, what is the first question that come to your mind?
What is this, Prof?
What is this? What's this, right? Naturally, I think most people say, okay, what's this? Yeah. What the heck is this? Perhaps others, maybe different question that come to your mind, maybe? I know naturally most people will say, what's this? Right. Any other question that probably come to your mind when you look at this picture?
Prof,
Yeah.
I will,
Yeah, Natalie.
I will normally ask myself, what can I do with this?
What can you do with this? That's wonderful, fantastic. What can I do with this? All right. Any other questions?
Yes, Prof. Why is it like that?
Why is it like, why does it look like very strange kind of structure? Is it some form of animated or unanimated object? Does it have life? Does it do? So I mean, we can come up, but most people probably would kind of ask that standard question. Yeah, what's this? What's that? Right. So now, what is it? Right? What is it? Now, Steve Jobs. Everyone probably knows the late Steve Jobs, the Apple founder. He said something about computers in 1985. 1985. I bought the first Macintosh in 1988. So, yeah, he said this. Older people sit down and ask, what is it? Or what's this? What's that? But the child asks, what can I do with it? Just like Dr. Lee said just now, what can I do with it? So the point that I'm trying to make here, the adult mind and the children mind. And we know that children, when they at the young age, I think everyone who have kids probably can relate to this. Our children love to ask questions, and sometimes we some people, some parents say, oh, very annoying when the children ask a lot of questions, and sometimes we just answer casually. Oh, no, okay. We don't really care to answer them correctly. But probably the smarter way, when you read about parenting, the parenting books, but it came too late for me when I read the parenting book. They said when the children ask questions, don't give them answer directly. Ask them a series of questions so that you lead them to the answer. Oh, when I read about it, alamak, maybe too late for me to practice that with my children lah. But then now we can do this with our students and with ourselves also. So if you learn in teaching and learning, there's a technique called Socratic questionings, where when the students or when someone asks us a question, we don't directly give them the answer. Ask them a series of questions and some hints to help them until they come up with their own answers. So when the child asks, what can I do with it? Actually, because they are very creative, the creative mind always asking questions, not simply waiting for the answers. And somehow, this according to Sir Ken Robinson here, very famous educators, already passed away. To the late Sir Ken Robinson, you can find a lot of his videos on YouTube. The very famous video, millions of views. The title is Do Schools Kill Creativity? This is actually a TED Talk. I don't know maybe how many of you are the fan of TED Talk, but this is a very famous, millions of views. You see here, like 2.2 million here. You can watch on YouTube or you can watch on TED Talk website. And he said this, and he has written many books, yeah, about schools, about creativity, children's creativity. But his statement is a statement very powerful here. Let's think about this together, whether you agree or you disagree. I think it's okay, because we can always argue about it. Sir Ken Robinson argued that we don't grow into creativity, but we grow out of it, or rather we get educated out of it. So let me give you the context of this statement. In this presentation, which we can watch on YouTube, about 18 minutes, 19 minutes presentation here, he argued that the children, when they were young, when they were in school, they are, they are very creative and they're always asking a lot of questions. They are curious. They are very curious, highly curious. When they look at environment around them, they're always wondering, why is this? Why is this? What is this? What can we do with this? And so on. And our education system, unfortunately, and I think he was referring to the British education system, which I think compared to us, probably we are even, in terms of how do we promote and cultivate the mind of the inquisitive mind, the mind of asking questions, the critical thinking and so on, the creative mind, how do we develop that? So he said the education system is not designed actually to further promote and develop that inquisitive mind and curious mind of the children. So when they go to the higher level of education, to the university level, in fact, that creativity and the curious mind slowly die off. And then when in the university and when we become researcher, we are not as curious as the children. So that's what he said. Whether we argue, whether we agree or not, we can always discuss about this, but let's just leave it at that point. So basically, I take another quote here about creativity. Creativity is a wild mind. A wild mind. So we say wild imagination, right? And to become a good researcher, I think we need that. We need that wild imagination, something that is crazy. That's why if you read the stories of scientists who invented a lot of things for the mankind, like Thomas Edison, Einstein, and so on, and that during their time, all these scientists have been regarded as crazy people. They are insane, they are crazy, they are labeled as crazy because they need to be crazy, because it's their imagination is so wild that ordinary people probably have, we don't reach that kind of level of wild imagination. So creativity is a wild mind and the disciplined eye. So can you see the kind of the dichotomy here? Wild mind, but at the same time, disciplined eye. So I'm going to talk about this shortly. When we talk about asking a lot of questions, but if you don't have a structured, systematic way of asking questions, this is what the disciplined eye is about. It's about some systematic way of doing things. So on one hand, you want to be very wild, to have a wild imagination, but on the other hand, there must be some structured way, framework that you can follow. Then when we combine these two, then it's going to be very powerful. Okay, so let me continue. Yeah. Any comment? Yes. Any remark? Yeah, Dr. Lee.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You need to have a framework
At the same
framework.
time, you have to have the scope.
Yeah, the scope. Right. Good. Thank you, Dr. Lee. Feel free to interject anytime, yeah? Just like what Dr. Lee is doing. I love it. Yeah, I like it very much. Don't say sorry, I want to say something. No, just interject. Just interject. Thank you. Okay, now let's take a look at this slide. Oops. The most important instrument in research must always be the mind of man. It just happened yesterday. I watched a video, a podcast. Uh, the writer of the book, I forgot the name. She was talking about the brain and the mind. So this is actually from this book, the art of scientific investigation. I don't know how many of you have read this book, The Art of Scientific Investigation. Science and the arts. It's actually arts, the arts of approaching scientific investigation. And from the quotes that I take from this book, the most important instrument in research must always be the mind. We talk about the mind, the thinking behind of research. So when we talk about research, yeah, we can oh, I put this in the wrong place. This slide is not here, shouldn't be here. Now I'll come back to this. Actually, this one I talk about reframing. Okay, never mind. Yeah, sorry, I put in the wrong place. Never mind. I will come back to that when we talk about reframing problem. So let's look at about research. Let's say we are embarking into a new research. So there's something called research cycle inquiry. And the keyword here is inquiry. I hope after this presentation, at the end of this presentation, always remember, when we approach something, always approach it with questions in mind, inquiry process. So the research cycle of inquiry starting from wonder, I'm wondering, we just wonder. So let us wonder, start with a deep why, start with a big why. Why are you embarking on this research in the first place? Why does it matter? So when you look at your problem statement, I think it's a good time for you if you can trace your problem statement, those who have, are doing research now. So have you gone through the point where you ask the big why? Because if you read the book by Simon Sinek, very New York Times bestseller, Start with Why. Have you read the book? You can also watch his presentation on YouTube. Start with why. Always start asking the big why. If you miss that part, then probably you want to go back and look at what is your why. Why do you embark on this research in the first place? That actually will help you to formulate the problem statement and kind of zoom into your problem statement. The why. Why does it matter? Otherwise, why should you care to spend 4 years to solve this problem? All right. Then inquire, explore the what if. Whoa, what if? I have a few slides on this one because this is such a powerful way of reframing your problem statement, or even come up with totally different ideas. What if? And a lot of researchers actually don't pay enough attention on asking what if question to reframe the problem. Okay, and then investigate. So once you have fixed your problem, you are convinced this is the right problem, you ask a lot of questions, reframe your problem, and come back to the same problem. So most likely that's the right problem to work on. Okay, embrace ignorance and test ideas. Okay, this is where you really now start off your work, do your experiment, whatever, the survey, whatever. And then integrate, consolidate findings, and articulate new understanding. But come back to this, to me, the most important part is this one: wonder and inquire. Wonder at the very beginning and inquire. This can happen throughout the research. keep on, meaning that we never stop asking questions. Never stop asking questions. Okay. So now, the rest of this presentation is actually looking more on this part, on this on the right hand side here, the wonder part and the inquire part. Because this part one of this presentation, I focus more on the what and the why. And next week, the second part, looking at the how and how we can use the tools of technology like AI and so on to help us in this process. So now, the scientific mindset. When I say scientific mindset, for especially in the context of research and researchers, doesn't mean those who do research in arts area is this not relevant. No, the scientific mindset means how do we approach our research systematically with some framework, a system. How do we approach our research with the big picture, system thinking? Maybe you have heard this word or term, system thinking. We look at the big picture first, and we have a scientific way of approaching this. So when we talk about scientific mindset, we are talking about being highly curious. Highly curious. We want now to kind of turn back time to our childhood where we ask everything. We questions everything. Questions everything, you know. And I believe if we make this as a habit, you will be a very useful person when you participate, let's say, in a meeting, in a strategic planning, for example, or in any forum. You will be a very useful person because you will ask questions that other people in the room might not ask. Because you always look from a different angle, from different perspective, always very critical and questions everything. And I was taught, if you read a book or if you read anything, always read between the lines, always read between the words even. Question everything, don't simply agree. And this can only happen if we make it a habit. We are curious. Only when you're highly curious, you start asking questions. Another thing is, when we talk about high scientific mindset, highly inquisitive, meaning that we keep on asking questions. We never kind of satisfied with the with the answers or with the statement. Don't simply accept the facts. Even the facts, already well-known, established facts, we can also question the facts. Think deeply and critically. So I always use this metaphor. When we look at a problem, you look at the problem as an onion, just like an onion, bawang, and you keep and you start peeling the layer by layer by layer by layer until you reach the core, and there's almost nothing to peel anymore. You have reached the core. So there's a deep thinking technique where we dive deeper and deeper and deeper into the problem until we are able to kind of solve the problem. So think deeply and very critically by asking questions. Open mind. Always consider many perspectives. Always question your assumption. Some people say old habit die hard, because we believe so much in something, we never question it. And when people question our belief, then we start to kind of, we jump and we say, oh, no, this has been a practice. This is a fact. So I think we need to be more open-minded, to be a good researcher and innovative researcher, to be innovative, to be creative. We need to open our mind, always consider many perspectives, and always listen to other people's perspective.
Prof, you are muted.
Is it just now just muted? What?
Yes,
Yeah.
suddenly you were muted.
Oh, I didn't do anything. Okay, never mind. So yeah, okay. So there's a scientific mind, and yeah, this is important also. Don't let your ideas become your identity. What does it mean? Anyone like to say something about this statement? You don't let your ideas become your identity. Maybe Dr. Lee, can you say something about this? What do you think? No, don't let your ideas become your identity. What does it mean?
I would say that you don't try to be like stereotype, always taking along one path.
Yeah.
That means if you do that, you will not be able to look at things from different perspective.
Yep.
And you cannot ask yourself questions.
Yeah.
You
We
know?
don't we don't question ourselves because we think that is the truth, nothing but the truth. We hold on to that belief that because we believe that as a fact, as a truth, and we'll never ask, we'll never questions. So they become your identity, meaning that you just accept it, and it's something that you believe, and tak goyang lah, basically. So I think to become a good researcher, I think we need always questions our belief, always question the assumptions. You look for reason why you might be wrong, not just reason why you must be right. So this is to me also very important for us when we talk about inquisitive mind. Listen to ideas that make you think hard. Even from our students that we supervise. Don't underestimate them. Because for masters and PhD, probably they know more than us for that particular topic. So we must listen to their ideas and think very hard, not just the ones that make you feel good. So that's to me also the hallmark of good researchers. You surround yourself with people who can challenge your process. Open yourself, this open mind, yeah? Open yourself to be challenged, even by our students. Who can challenge your process, not just the ones who agree with your conclusion. So if you surround yourself with only people who would just agree everything with your statement, with your opinion, with your views, I think we should encourage actually our students to question and challenge us. Then only you can have a very good intellectual environment, intellectual discourse, intellectual discussion. In any meeting, in any group discussion, in any like let's say you have a strategic planning workshop and so on. Sometimes people who like to challenge other, to challenge the group, challenge even the leader of the group. Yeah, I know. Sometimes these people are labeled as vocal, and you might not be popular, unfortunately, because the culture, it is actually related to the culture. So we have to be careful also. I mean, there's a limit sometimes we can do that. But for research purposes, when we are dealing with, doing this with other researchers and also with our students, for example, when we supervise them, or when we ourselves as researchers, I think we need to not only challenge people, challenge the student, but challenge ourselves. Challenge ourselves. Am I doing the right thing? Am I asking the right questions? Am I working on the right problem? So that's the thing, yeah? Inquisitive mind, remember? So I wrote an article when preparing this presentation. I thought, okay, maybe I write a blog article. So you can see here, I capture the screen. I give you the link to access my blog towards the end also, together with the link to download the presentation. Yeah? The uncomfortable truth about being wrong. Yeah, it's not comfortable, right? When you find yourself doing the wrong thing. But this is something, why do the best leaders and researchers love being challenged? Because when you are being challenged, it forces yourself to think, to think again and questions yourself. And maybe you will find out, oh, okay, it turned out that yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need, before too late, maybe I need to change my research direction or problem. But it can be painful and uncomfortable. But if you are not prepared to do that, and you just continue doing the research, you'll just waste a lot of resources and time. So if we only listen to people who agree with us, we are not growing. We are just reinforcing something that is probably not the right thing to do, or the right problem. We just, okay, I'm doing the right thing because my supervisor says so, because my lecturer says so. No, I cannot question them because they are more experienced. They've got PhD. I'm just a PhD student. So why should I? So when your supervisor say, okay, you are doing the right thing, and it just reinforce, you don't question back. Sometimes the supervisor can make a mistake as well. And I think I have observed this also in my 30 years, almost 30 years, doing this research and so on. I've seen some example of this. And the sad thing is, during the Viva, when the examiners pointed out to the students, and the students realized that, yeah, maybe now I realize I did the wrong thing, and the supervisors just keep quiet, or worse, they blame the students. Have you come across this situation? Yeah. So anyway, true progress happens when we welcome friction, debate, even discomfort. Okay, so if you look for reasons why you might be wrong, you look for reasons why you might be wrong, not just reasons why you must be right. This is a core trait of true intellectual humility. So if you are professors, you have been in the academia for 20 years, 25 years, there is a tendency that we feel that whatever we do, whatever we say, that's the right thing. It's not necessary. Yeah. So you look for reason why you might be wrong, meaning that we keep on asking questions whether whatever that I'm doing or whatever I'm saying to my students is the right thing, because you might be wrong. Okay, so that's the thing. So let's say more about curiosity. It's a big word here. And Albert Einstein's, there are many quotes attributed to Albert Einstein. Whether it's really Albert Einstein said it or not, maybe that's a different question, but more importantly is the quote. So please don't ask me, was it Albert Einstein said this? Okay, never mind lah. We look at the quote. I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious. That's, to me, what we need to have as a scientist, as a researcher. Being humble enough to acknowledge that, I don't have a special talent, but I am very persistent. I am very persistent in asking the right question. I'm passionately curious. I am passionately curious. That can be your new tagline. So, as Sir Ken Robinson said again and again, he said everyone is born curious. If you listen to his TED talk, everyone is born curious, no exception. But only some retain the habits of exploring, learning, and discovering as they grow older. Those who do so tend to be smarter, more creative, and more successful. So why many of us allowing our curiosity to win? And there's a book there are a few books I want to share for during this presentation. And there's a book here, Curious by Ian Leslie. The desire to know and why your future depends on it. I think we need to teach this skill, teach this habit. It's more like a habit to our young students from the school, at the school level. But of course, at the university level, maybe we can help even our adult students to cultivate maybe the lost habit, which is being curious, Okay, so I'll read this book, very interesting. Oops. Okay. Now, I believe if we approach our research with the habit of being curiosity driven, I think that is where we can discover a lot of amazing things that would lead to a breakthrough or groundbreaking research, not ordinary research, groundbreaking research, which I think I believe we are lacking in Malaysia, in the context of Malaysia. So when I say curiosity driven, we look at the history of science. I'm a big fan of reading the history of science, yeah, and the biography of the scientists and so on. So if you look at the history of science, it shows very clearly that the common thing is, when you read the stories, all the scientists, inventors, they are driven by curiosity, very highly curious. So curiosity-driven research contributes tremendously to technological progress. Curiosity is the heart and soul of research inquiry. So therefore, we want to cultivate this. We want to nurture this curiosity. We want to help our students that we supervise to nurture this, being curious, being curious. So a scientist approaches the universe with insatiable curiosity. We look for patterns in the world around us. We ask questions: why, and how, what if, about everything we see. It's not enough to know something is what something is, but we want to know why it is, why it behaves in such a way, in such a manner, how it became that way, and whether it will ever change. So all these are the type of questions that really can help us to discover new perspective, to get more insights into the problem. But sometimes we are too lazy to ask questions. But if now, in this session this morning, I want to kind of revisit that our so-called lost habit. What is a lost habit? The habit of being curious and asking a lot of questions. The inquisitive mind. Let us discover that, and let us now cultivate that, the power. Once we understand the power of inquiry, asking questions: how, what, why, when, why, who, where, when, and so on. And another book that I want to share with you, Power of Inquiry to Spark Breakthrough Ideas. The title of the book is A More Beautiful Questions by Warren Berger. And actually from this book, next week, I want to share with you how I have created call this custom GPT based on the framework, based on the Warren Berger's framework to ask questions. So next week, don't miss, because I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to share with you the custom GPT so that you can use it to help you in the research inquiry. Yeah? Please join next week. If you don't join next week, then you won't get that custom GPT. So the power of inquiry to spark breakthrough ideas, because today is about doing research in a different way. You want to be a researcher who can come up with grand breakthrough ideas, not just so-so ideas. So, in order to do that, we need to acquire and master the skill of questioning. Questioning deeply, imaginatively, beautifully. It can help us identify and solve problems, come up with game-changing ideas, and pursue fresh opportunities. Game-changing ideas. Yeah, not average ideas, not mediocre ideas. Bukan idea yang simple, so this really grand ideas, so that you can do a research that will be impactful to the nation. So, inquisitive mind. Inquisitiveness means the quality of wanting to discover as much as you can about things. This is a definition from the dictionary. I take this definition from Cambridge Dictionary and the other one from Merriam-Webster. Inquisitiveness means inclined to ask questions. This is such a powerful skill, asking questions. Okay, and not simply asking without, we need to have some systematic way of doing or asking questions, the framework. So, inquisitiveness is actually intellectual curiosity. It is a tendency to want to know things, even if they are not immediately or obviously useful. Just like Newton, the story, Isaac Newton sitting under the tree and the apple fell on his lap. So it's an ordinary event, right? But the inquisitive mind, thinking about why the apple fell on my lap rather than the apple kind of fell upward. Maybe, So it is being curious and eager to acquire new knowledge and to learn the explanation for things even when the application of that new learning are not immediately apparent. Isaac Newton went home and he told his wife, oh, when I was sitting under the tree, beneath the tree, the apple fell on and hit my head. Amazing. Then the wife said, what's so amazing about it? Okay, so for Newton, there's something interesting. That's to me, the hallmark of a scientist, always curious. So why scientists should ask good questions? One of the keys to scientific discovery is a willingness for scientists to embrace ignorance, a novice mindset, and to use question as a means of navigating through it to new discoveries. I take this from another book, Ignorance, How It Drives Science. I like to take quotes here from books, and this one is, to me, embrace ignorance, meaning that although we have been doing research for 20 years, 30 years, but if we can take a novice mindset, humble enough. So that's why I mentioned about intellectual humility, we bring ourselves to be humble enough as, like a novice researcher, novice mindset, asking stupid questions that turn out to be a breakthrough for our research and to a new discovery. Embrace ignorance. Embrace ignorance simply means act like a silly person, asking silly questions. All right? So, why scientists should ask good questions? One good question can give rise to several layers of answers, can inspire decades-long searches for solution, can generate whole new fields of inquiry, and can prompt changes in entrenched thinking. Entrenched thinking means, I mentioned earlier, you believe that there is the thing, there is a problem, nothing else matters. So entrenched thinking, you don't want to accept new opinion, new views, new input, feedback. It happens a lot. Yeah. Asking the right question. There's another book, SpaceX Starship. Yeah. Elon Musk Rocket to Mars by Joe Binder. So when SpaceX was founded, which question do you expect Elon Musk asked? How do we create? SpaceX how do we create private space travel for individuals? Yeah. Puan Ayu, am I still sharing the screen?
Yes, Prof.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
you are.
okay. I clicked something just now. So Elon Musk asked this question: how do we create private space travel for individual, or what if we create a private space travel company for individual? The story was when Elon Musk asked this question, that actually led to the project of space travel. Nobody before this actually asking this type of question. So um, asking the right questions led to a a different kind of discovery or advancement in so asking the power of asking the right questions, the how do we create private space travel for individuals, and then when we ask this question, your mind immediately conjures up options that are most likely known or familiar. It may lead to innovative solution. Then what if? When we ask what if questions, it create a private space travel. What if, let's say, what if we create a private space travel company for individual, and this kind of what if question leads to much more easily um, to a beautiful, powerful act, namely a declaration of previously impossible or improbable outcome. So when you ask what if question, you always think about a scenario where in a normal, in the ordinary way, it's almost impossible to make it happen. To make it happen, or almost impossible to achieve. But this type of what if questions throughout history has produced a lot of fantastic invention for mankind. So regardless of whether you are doing research in technology, science, or arts, always try to practice what if. And with AI, we can use AI to brainstorm. You give your problem statement, and then you give your, whatever the hypothesis and so on, and ask ChatGPT to come up with 10 what if questions. But don't worry, next week I will show you my custom GPT, how we can automate this process and make it easier for you to come up with all this. Yeah. So, this I come now. I come to the what if question, the power of asking what if, and there's another book here, and I'm a big fan of this what if, because I watch a lot of videos. There's a channel on YouTube. Whether you have watched the channel, what if, what if. Yeah, I will show you. I will share with you the channel.
Prof, someone muted you again.
You are muted again.
Oh yeah, okay. Someone is trying to sabotage. Okay. Yeah, by the way, if you can grab this book, yeah, um, what if by Randall Munroe, yeah, serious scientific answers to absurd hypothetical questions. I think maybe we should the universities should kind of put in the postgraduate fees. Yeah, I'm talking about research students. That research fee should include a few books, like some of the books that I share here. And in fact, for researchers, these are some of the, to me, compulsory book to read. Okay? And you will thank me after you have read the book. You will really open up your mind, think, and looking at your research in different ways now. Yeah. But if you don't have the book, at least you have my presentation. You read this, later on you can go through my presentation and start thinking about it and asking the question. And next week, if you attend my presentation next week, I will show you and guide you through the process of how to do this, the how to, yeah. So the power of asking what if question can be powerful because it helps you to find new solution, see new opportunities, or do things differently. Think different. Yeah, think different. So what if question open new views on your existing challenge. They allow you to look at an existing problem from different angle. Totally, you mentioned about different angle. Yes, look at from different angle, 360-degree. Slice it in different ways. Just like when we slice the CT scan image, looking from top, bottom, and sideway, and so on. And I wrote another blog article you can find on my blog. How asking what if questions led to grand scientific discoveries. What if questions have unlocked humanity's greatest breakthroughs. Let's explore how daring to ask questions change the world. It's quite a long article that I wrote here. So later on, when you get the link, take some time to read this. What if? And it's a channel, the YouTube channel. What if? What if all helium disappeared for 5 seconds? Wow, interesting, helium gas. If it disappear for 5 seconds, what will happen to us? Okay, so 6.84 million subscribers, and I am one of it. How many of you here have watched any video from What If channel? Anyone here? Can you raise your hand? Dr. Lee, have you watched? By the way, Dr. Lee, what's your area? Sorry, I mentioned you because I can see your camera here. Have you watched this channel, Dr. Lee?
Dr. Lee, you are muted.
Yeah.
Dr. Lee, you are muted.
Actually, I am in education. I started with geography, then I went on to environmental education. And then when I was doing PhD, I was doing curriculum and pedagogy.
Okay. So have you watched any video?
Because that is a very broad area, yeah.
Have you watched any video on What If channel?
Yeah, very scary sometimes.
Yeah. So in the context of research, these are some of the videos. What if we nuke an active volcano? What if all the volcanoes on Earth erupted at once? So this is very interesting, something that you have never thought of it. The same thing for our research. So I think if we train our mind to always ask what if questions, I think they will be wonderful. And train our students, of course. And if we can find ways, the young children, starting from young, the science subject, can be designed in such a way that students keep asking, what if all the plants, the trees don't have green, but only yellow leaf, something like that, and it's very interesting. I think that's how we can make science very interesting. Otherwise, now we have STEM issue and so on. Now, anyway, what if questions are so powerful, then how do you think you can use this in the best possible manner in the context of research, in the context of our life also? What is the best way? Or when can you use this what if? So never mind, to save time, I just give the answer. The answer is simple: anytime. Anytime when you want to, to have some, changes. You want a change in something, large or small. So you can, okay, what if? So you want to transform something. So just ask this what if questions. If we do brainstorming together with our fellow researchers and so on, this can be a very enriching, it can be very rich kind of ideas that we can get by keep asking what if. Just like when we do root cause analysis. Are you familiar with root cause analysis? There are also framework how to do root cause analysis. For example, the 5 whys, asking why, you know. So that's a root cause analysis. But what if analysis also, there are framework that we can follow. So, for example, in health, what if I felt energetic, focused, and ready to go every morning? In adventure, what if I took the most outrageous adventure of my life this year? Wealth, investment, what if I had 5 million in liquid asset invested by 2025? I prepared this presentation in 2022, and now it's already 2025. Learning, what if I finally learn to paint with watercolors? Team, what if we double our sales this year? So these are some outrageous what if questions, you know, that at face value, sekali imbas, orang kata, people say, crazy lah. Your question is crazy lah. You want to double sales? We have never make a profit. And now you say you want to double your sales profit. This, are you crazy? So this is what if, you know, the nature of what if. If you practice this and you ask in the group, let's say in the meeting, you know, what if? They say, are you crazy? Totally, are you crazy, Ponayu? It's okay, because if they don't see the value, and if we follow through and pursue, we might come up with something big, something grand you never imagined. So now, imagination. Before that, I think, did I skip something? Or maybe after this. Let's talk about imagination. Eh? According to Einstein again, imagination is more important than knowledge. Wow. For knowledge, because knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. And then critical thinking. We always hear about critical thinking. It's actually a mode of thinking about anything, about any subject, content, or problem. So in which the thinker improve the quality of his or her thinking by skillfully analyzing, assessing, and reconstructing. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is by reconstruct the problem. So we decipher, dismantle the problem, take it away. I mean, we take it part by part, and then reconstruct it again. So sometimes there are many approaches to solve a problem. So critical thinking is self-directed, self-disciplined, and self-monitored, and self-corrective thinking. So there are framework. I'm not going to elaborate this, but basically, you know, we can go through this framework of critical thinking. This I mentioned just now. To cultivate the habits of asking questions. So the habit of asking question actually is part of the critical thinking, and this is a framework that we can follow. And this actually from a book, The Inquisitive Mind and Critical Thinking, Asking Tough Questions. As you can see, I have read many books. Many articles on asking questions, thinking technique, critical thinking, and so on. I'm a long time fan of this, strategic thinking, and many other, design thinking, just name it, all sort of thinking. So I'm sharing some of it with you. So because it's important, because it helps us in problem solving, because we actually, in our daily life, we have a lot of problems, and we keep solving problem. So we need to, if we have some framework to follow, techniques to follow, it really helps us not only in research, but in daily life as well, you know. And this is a very interesting problem. You can read this in the internet, and I actually take this problem from a book. It's about reframe problem. So imagine you have a problem statement for your research that's in one frame, but have you ever tried to kind of reframe your problem statement or your problem and look at it from different way. And these are so-called the elevator the slow elevator problem, very famous. If you attend any problem solving workshop, perhaps this is one of the almost compulsory example, the slow elevator problem. What is this problem about? The problem is this: people are in the apartment, for example, or in the building, they want to go up to the level 20 or 20th floor. So they have to wait for the lift. We call it lift, yeah. Elevator is the lift. So sometimes the waiting period is so long, few minutes. So people complain the elevator is slow. So the problem statement is the elevator or the lift is slow. Now, is that the real problem? The elevator is slow. So imagine you are the owner of an office building and your tenants are complaining about the elevator. It's old and slow, and they have to wait a lot long. Several tenants are threatening to break their leases if you don't fix the problem. So it seems like a problem. The problem is slow. Sorry, the lift, the elevator is slow. At the first glance, this is a problem. But is it the real problem? Or maybe we can reframe the problem. So what should we do in this case? So this is where we learn about problem framing. This is one skill that I think we need to teach ourselves as researchers and teach our students that we supervise. Not only postgraduate, but actually all the students. Now, the elevator is too slow. It's one frame. But so obviously, what would be the solution? Make it faster lah. Right? That's the obvious solution. The lift is slow. Make it faster lah. How to make it faster? Well, maybe we have to invest and install a new lift. Maybe. Wow, it's so expensive. Or maybe we can upgrade only the motor. Yeah. Still expensive. Or what about maybe the software that control the lift? Improve the algorithm. Now, let's look at how do we reframe this. The elevator is too slow. Maybe if we reframe the problem, it become actually the waiting is long and annoying. So in that case, the solution instead of solution for this problem, now we look at the problem in different way. The wait is annoying. Can we make the wait more acceptable? Make the wait feel shorter. How? We put up mirrors. And then when we put up mirrors while waiting, people will look at the mirror and groom themselves, sikat rambut, comb their hair, and, fix their jacket, whatever. So they kind of get distracted and they forget about the waiting. Or play music or install a hand sanitizer. And I think in the apartment that I am renting, when I go to Uniton, actually I rent an apartment in Bangi there. Nowadays, I think most modern apartment, they put a screen with advertisement, right? So we look at we watch the advertisement and we get kind of, we look at the screen, the advertisement and some other thing, then we kind of lacquer lah. Oh, okay, then we don't feel the weight. So in this case, people now maybe stop complaining because they have something to do, something to watch, maybe the movie trailer, whatever, on the screen. Or put up the mirrors, as simple as that. Put up the mirrors and they look at the mirrors, and that can make them kind of feel waiting period is shorter. So that is reframing. Okay. So
Prof.
yes, Dr. Lee, go ahead.
Macam ni. Because not everybody want to go to the top floor. Some of them want to go to one floor above and all that. So provide alternative for them. Maybe they can walk up the stairs.
Yeah. So true. So in other words, when we look at the problem, the tenants complain about slow waiting and so on, we don't quickly jump into like accepting that as an obvious problem and then come up with a solution which can be expensive. Change the elevator, change the lift, and so on. But maybe we can look at it from different ways. So in this case, this is where the reframing problem is, So moving the problem now, in this case, in the slow elevator problem, now we can see how when we do the reframing, we move the problem from the elevator is too slow to the wait is annoying, and then change from the problem as being mechanical and technical, to a more human-centered one, which is to make them feel means the emotion, right? Make them feel the waiting is shorter. So now it's more like empathize with them. So if we have learned about design thinking, the element in design thinking is about the empathize with the customer, empathize with the people. Okay, so this more human-centered one now, from the technical to the human-centered one, when we reframe the problem. So this open a universe of more creative and accessible solution. Oh, I have 6 more minutes. So reframing problem. I want to share with you another book here. The title of the book is What's Your Problem? To solve your toughest problem, change the problems you solve. To solve your toughest problems, change the problems you solve. Change the problem, meaning that reframe. So what often start solving a problem, we often start solving a problem before thinking deeply about whether we are solving the right problem. The point of reframing is not to find the real problem, but rather to see if there is a better one to solve. Is there a better problem to solve? So that I'm going to spend 3 years, 4 years, and $500,000 research grant to solve a better problem. This is a problem. Yes, it's a problem, but actually I can solve a better problem. Both are problems, but this one is a better one. Why should we solve the lesser problem if we have a better one? So it's something for us to think and to ponder. Okay? So a challenge for you. I leave this with you to challenge yourself after you find time after this. Write a short and concise problem statement of your research. If you are doing a research now, you already have your problem statement, or maybe you want to revisit your previous completed research. Look at your problem statement and then try to reframe the problem. This is a very interesting exercise. You might find out, that, oh, okay, actually I can reframe this and there's a better problem for me to solve. This is interesting exercise if we have this as a proper workshop. So are you solving the right problem? The stated problem is rarely the real one. Most of the time, it's a symptom of the real issue. Imagine, you come up with a problem and you convince this is a problem or the problem. Then you start doing the root cause analysis and whatnot. And you spend a lot of time doing it. And it turned out that this might not be the right problem, or it turned out that there's probably a better problem for you to work on. And this problem, a better problem, actually a bigger one. And the original problem that you think is the problem, probably a subset of this, a bigger and a better problem. So might as well you solve this one because it will cover also the original problem that you have decided. So there's a book, another book. Title is Traction. Traction, get a grip on your business. This is actually in the context of business, but solving business problem. So like what are you is teaching business. So those teaching business, actually the concept and the principle apply to anything. But this book is focused more on the context of business. Okay. All right. So are you solving the right problem? As I mentioned just now, if you spend a lot of time working on your problem, doing the root cause analysis and so on, it turned out at the end, after 3 years, after 2 years, 4 years, then you find out that there's a better problem to solve, or that's not really the right problem. You are actually solving the symptom rather than the main problem. So another book, these are, to me, if you want to be a very good researcher that always apply critical thinking and asking questions, these are some of the books that you want to read. Think Again. Remember the quote by the Apple tagline, Think Different, and the quote by Albert Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expect different results. If you read the book by Adam, it is actually one of the best seller of all time. Think Again. I think they sold this few million copies. Think Again by Adam Grant. It basically always questions yourself, question your assumption, questions your belief. Intelligence is usually seen as ability to think and learn, but in this rapidly changing world, is ability to rethink and unlearn. Don't get stuck with your belief, because if you do that, you will not progress, you will not grow. So solving a problem is like peeling an onion, I mentioned just now. And another book, wow, so many books. If you want to learn how to solve complex problem, learn the technique apart from asking questions. Bulletproof problem solving, the only skill that changes everything. But if you read all these books, the common denominator or the common principle is the same one, like common, which is inquisitive mind, the habit of asking questions. Then it will help you to reframe problem and so on. It helps you to go deeper, because complex problem can be multi-layered and require multiple iteration. So I think I don't want to prolong this one. So I just want I have two or three more slides. Another mindset that we must always try to cultivate is, the willingness to try again after we fail. We will fail many times. So we need to say that, okay, let's try again. Let's maybe ask more questions. Why I fail, or maybe there are other ways of doing this. Okay, so the traits of good researcher, knowledge, skill, ethics, and values, they should be part and parcel of this. And finally, the key takeaway from this is this: breakthrough research doesn't come from having all the answers. Because the answers now, we can go to ChatGPT and find all the answers by ChatGPT and other chatbot. So the more valuable skill now is actually asking the right questions. So it begins with asking better questions, staying curious. This must become a habit, a second nature, and being brave enough to challenge what you think you know. Challenge what you think you know. Okay. So time to reinvent ourselves. Hopefully, I hope at this point in my sharing this morning, you start thinking about looking back at your problem statement, your research, and so on, and then start to maybe read all the books that I've shared, and then try to practice and develop these characteristics of being a curious researchers and curious mind. Yeah. So keep trying, and this the end of part 1, and part 2 next week. I will explore further, but more on how now we can cultivate this inquisitive mind, and how we can use technology such as AI now. So I will be sharing with you some tools uh, that will really helps you to speed up the process and facilitate the process of coming up with new ideas, groundbreaking ideas, using the framework, the what if and so on. That I borrowed this framework from some of the books that I shared with you. It's not my original idea, but I borrowed the framework and I will share with you. But I believe many researchers are not really using this kind of approach to ask the right question and to formulate the right problem statement. So next week, AI as a new thinking companion for the curious mind. And this is my blog. When you get the slide, you will get the link. You can read my blog. I have more than 50, 60, I don't know, 50, 60 or more articles, which I started writing probably many years ago. I can remember when I started writing in 2009. Okay, this is my platform on Medium. You can read on my blog. And I would like to invite all of you to join this Facebook group, The World of Academia, where I share a lot of good stuff on teaching and learning, on AI, especially on this Facebook. Okay. And stay hungry, everyone. I know everyone is hungry. I'm hungry now, but hungry for knowledge. And stay foolish. Be creative, be innovative. Although people label you as crazy scientists, crazy researchers, but according to Steve Jobs, if you stay foolish, this is where you come up with new ideas, new discoveries, new innovation. And from me, stay strong, because doing research is not easy. So you must be strong physically and mentally. And then the link to download the PowerPoint, you can take the picture of the slide, or you can just scan the QR code to download the full slides of my presentation. So with that, I'd like to thank you for staying with me till the end. And thank you once again to Unit 10 for giving me this opportunity to share with the participants. And feel free to share the slides with everyone, because we only have about 50 plus people here. I would love for young researchers, PhD, masters, young researchers among the academic to get the idea. Yeah. So maybe Puan Ayu will share the coding, I don't know. But we want to share this knowledge to everyone. So with that, back to Bon Ayu.